Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Some time too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. Nor shall death brag thou wander'st in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou grow'st. So long as men can breathe, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
The theme of the poem was to utilise nature as a metaphor for the visual beauty of the subject of the sonnet. To represent that, I used a mixture of videos displaying the aesthetics of nature in summer. A recurring technique was the dimming of videos to black and white, as in Sonnet 18 Shakespeare often refers to the beauty of the world coming to an end. The use of effects on the videos in specific sections are especially noticeable, as I use a lot of bright and sudden effects to demonstrate the power and light of the eye of heaven, which is Shakespeare's metaphor for the sun. When referring to the changing of seasons, I used images of the exact same view to show how, though it is the same setting, it never actually stays the same. Then comes the volta in lines 9 and 10, where I represent the start of the poem through a video of a flickering light, until now in line 9 and 10 the light has become steady. At this stage I speed up my voice and raise my tone in order to emphasise the change in the course of the poem. Throughout the poem I make connections between metaphors such as that when Shakespeare writes of eternal lines to time, I recognise this as a reference to the lines of the poem matching the very specific timing of a sonnet. To depict the concluding rhyming couplet, I have chosen the placement of videos very carefully. The last video is of a flower being placed into the ground, and I chose this to represent the planting of eternity. But this video follows the essential image of the sonnet. The image of the sonnet placed before the video of the flower signifies how the sonnet is what gives life to the flower. In my reading of the poem, I prolong the speaking of the last two lines. My pause after saying this is to show that the word is referring to the sonnet itself, and that the message is that the sonnet is what shall live on, and it is only through the sonnet that the subject of the poem will come to life. Then the white flash concludes the video, signifying the whiteness of eternity and heaven. Therefore the audience now understands that although the beauty of nature and summer may fade, the sonnet itself will always be read, and so the subject of Sonnet 18 will live on through the imagination of the reader.